Thanks for joining us here on the Eastern North Carolina CW. Starting off in your evening crime tracker, authorities are looking for a Pamlico County man who left a hospital after suffering injuries from a car chase. It happened in the Arapahoe area of Pamlico County on July 4th. Pamlico County deputies say 27-year-old Zane Marcus tried to avoid a driver's license checkpoint just after midnight. Two deputies began a 7-mile chase of Marcus, who then crashed his motorcycle in a cornfield. Marcus was then airlifted to Vidant Medical Center in Greenville for his injuries, but he left the hospital early this morning before his arrest. Authorities say Marcus was a convicted felon. Deputies recovered drugs and a gun from the crash. They also say the motorcycle he drove is stolen. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to call local authorities. Today in Greenville, police say Dante Lamar Moore turned himself in for outstanding warrants on domestic violence and armed robbery related charges. The robbery charges are in connection to the June 7th armed robbery on Pitt Street at the sweepstakes business in Grimesland. Moore is being held without bond. He's scheduled to be in court tomorrow. Officials with the Pitt County Sheriff's Office say a woman is facing multiple charges after she broke into a home on the 4th of July and stole a vehicle. Officials say 21-year-old Amber Marie Baker was arrested in her house in the Washington area. This after they found the truck she had stolen in Grimesland, where she had left a truck she stole earlier in Beaufort County. Baker is being held at the Pitt County Detention Center under a $75,000 bond. Now to an update to a story we first reported yesterday. The victim of a deadly apartment fire has been identified as an ECU employee. Greenville Fire and Rescue say the fire happened on Bridal Circle around 1 o'clock Monday morning. 43-year-old Adrian Dunning served at ECU as the business coordinator for the College of Education. She worked at the university since May 2012. 8 other people have been displaced from their homes from this fire. The cause remains under investigation. Now, the acting dean of the College of Education at ECU says Dunning was a, quote, valued member of the College of Education family. She was a great colleague who supported faculty and students. Her vibrant personality and passion for ECU will be missed by all of the faculty and staff. A new survey out of ECU asked adults nationwide to answer questions about life and liberty amid this pandemic. Researchers conducted that survey in mid-June. 9 Your Side's Caroline Boyer is here in the studio. Caroline, what did that study find?
Courtney, it asked questions about vaccine requirements, mask mandates, and stay-at-home orders, and the results revealed mixed reactions.
It suggests that this debate is not just one between Democrats and Republicans, the way we see on most issues. The politics of COVID divide Republicans almost equally.
Researchers collected more than 1,100 responses from people 18 and older across the nation via phone calls and an online panel.
We asked the people that we surveyed to look back on that and assess whether it wrongly took away their freedom or whether those orders were necessary to protect public health.
They found that among Republicans, 42% say stay-at-home orders wrongly took away people's freedom, compared to 42% who think the orders were necessary. In contrast, 8% of Democrats didn't support the orders. On mask requirements, 41% of Republicans say mask mandates wrongly took away their freedom, and 45% say they were necessary. Democrats were less split, with only 6% disagreeing with face covering requirements. And on mandates for out-of-state travel, 39% of Republicans did not support travel mandates, while 52% did. Only 9% of Democrats who responded say travel mandates wrongly took away people's freedom.
When we looked at those three issues, we see that the self-identified Republicans in the survey were near evenly divided on those three issues, whereas Democrats were largely unified.
The survey also asked about current issues, like if schools and universities should require the COVID vaccine. 46% of Republicans say no, high schools should not require students and employees to get vaccinated, but 45% of Republicans say they should require vaccines. The split is also pretty even between Republicans when asked if universities should require the vaccine, with 48% saying no and 46% saying yes.
Any issue related to COVID-19 will likely continue to divide Democrats and Republicans, but it may very well, as the findings in this survey show, also continue to divide Republicans against Republicans.
One issue the majority of Republicans surveyed agreed on is that employers should not require COVID vaccinations. We have the full findings from this survey on our website, WNCT.com. In studio, Caroline Boyer, 9 on your side.
Caroline, thank you. In today's Capitol Report, despite statewide and national efforts, the number of people getting their COVID vaccines is declining. State data shows about 52,000 people were vaccinated the week of June 7th. That number dropped to 45,000 2 weeks later. Today, Durham Bulls and CVS Health held a vaccine event targeted at teenagers, but only one person showed up in the first few hours. CVS manager Karen Harriman says the vaccine is the best protection from the Delta variant.
Getting the vaccine is beyond individuals or ourselves. We need to do it for our community. And so we can all return to our normal life and live healthy lives and not have to be worrying about every time we get a cough, do we have COVID?
The state's second vaccine lottery will be tomorrow. And here's how tomorrow's vaccine lottery drawing will work. Two numbers will be drawn by a random number generator at 10 in the morning. One of those numbers will be for the million. The other will be for the college scholarship. The NCDHHS will then determine the vaccinated people associated with those numbers and verify their identity and eligibility. Once that step is complete, the department will contact the winners to receive the money and release their names to the public.
I've spent my entire life proving that I belonged in elite white spaces that were not built for black people. And I just decided, I got a lot of clarity through what happened with the University of North Carolina. I decided I didn't want to do that anymore.
That was Nicole Hannah-Jones announcing today on CBS This Morning she will not be joining UNC following the controversy over her tenure, instead choosing to join Howard University. Now, she says the decision comes after UNC trustees voted to grant Jones tenure following mounting backlash they faced when a board member initially halted the process over questions about her teaching credentials. UNC students say they support Jones's decision, but they would like the school to do better.
We also can't rely on the administrators only bending to pressure when it's coming from a huge media outcry. I think it's going to need to come from defending the principle of academic integrity.
Hannah-Jones says if UNC truly wants to redeem themselves, they should apologize for how the students were treated during protests and put more of an effort into recruiting and retaining black faculty. Medical marijuana is legal in 36 states, and North Carolina could become the 37th. Senate Bill 711, or the Compassionate Care Act, would legalize cannabis and cannabis-infused products for qualified patients. So, who is qualified as a patient? People with debilitating medical conditions. The bill lists examples of things like HIV and AIDS, Parkinson's disease, PTSD, and Crohn's disease. The bill also lays out the framework for how the drug would be distributed and regulated. While many senior senators have already made up their minds, Senator Don Davis says he's still trying to figure out what his constituents think and if this bill would serve their needs.
I believe there's still a lot of research that is needed in this area. Perhaps once the federal government relieved the Schedule I substance classification, we could see even a wider spread of clinical trials.
So far, the bill has been cleared by the Judiciary Committee. It needs to gather approval in other committees before heading to the Senate and House floors for a vote. Tonight, 5 people from Carteret County are now getting a second chance to turn their lives around. On Your Side's digital reporter Cheyenne Pagan has more details about Hope Recovery Home's graduation from our Jacksonville studio.
Hope Recovery Home celebrated participants who successfully completed the 6-month substance abuse program. The program includes clinical group counseling by licensed substance abuse counselors and a 12-step approach. Out of the 5 that graduated, 2 of them were from the Carteret County Jail Diversion Program. Hope Recovery Homes is a 24-hour nonprofit that gives shelter, care, and recovery for those suffering from substance abuse. They partner with Trillium Health Resources and the Carteret County Sheriff's Office to bring these services to people who need it. The event took place tonight in their soup kitchen. Lance Mason is one of the graduates and tells 9 on Your Side that this represents a big stepping stone in his life.
It's turned my life around from the way I was headed, and it's really made a big difference in my life with my family and my kids and everything.
Carteret County Sheriff Asa Buck also said a few words to the crowd. Overall, the organization says that they're happy to give people a second chance to turn their lives around and get on the road to recovery. To hear more about this graduation, head to WNCT.com under our online originals page. For now, in our Jacksonville studio, Cheyenne Pagan, 9 on Your Side.
Next at 10, we're keeping an eye on Elsa as the system makes its way towards the Florida coast. Coming up, how eastern North Carolina is preparing for the system.
We've got the very latest set of numbers on Elsa, including the very latest forecast track coming up next, and we'll get specific county by county and hour by hour. Baseball is in the air. We are live at historic Granger Stadium right here in Kinston, North Carolina. The home opening game for the Down East Wood Ducks coming up. It gets underway at 7 o'clock tonight. We've had just a few little light showers moving through from time to time, but right now the sun is out and it looks like a fairly good night of weather coming up for baseball. So perfect conditions out there. Look at the temperature. My goodness, 70 degrees in Kinston, 70 up the road in Greenville. A little bit cooler as you would expect out east towards the Outer Banks. Cape Hatteras is 63. Most of the heavier showers are up around Kill Devil Hills. What's across inland counties now starting to fall apart as we speak. So if you're going to be heading out to the game tonight, it looks like a good game forecast overall. We'll call it variably cloudy. At times you'll see a little more sun. At times you'll see a little more clouds. Only a 20% chance of a pop-up shower or two moving through, but nothing severe, nothing of anywhere close to the intensity, of course, that we had last night. And a lot going to be going on here tonight at Granger Stadium. Not only some good baseball action, but some good food, even some fireworks. We'll have all the details you need to know straight ahead on our complete newscast. The longest running newscast in the East starts right now.
Now at 5:30, the demand for the COVID vaccine is slowing down. How the Biden administration is now working to bring the shot to more Americans. Plus,
demand for gas is skyrocketing after a cyber attack on fuel supplies. I'm Michael George with the area seeing shortages and what you can do to conserve fuel.
and the gun control debate continues on Capitol Hill, while lawmakers say made-at-home firearms are affecting gun safety measures like background checks. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Angie Casava. Our Ken Watlington is live at Granger Stadium in Kinston for the Down East Wood Ducks season home opener. Ken.
Yeah, Angie, it's been a long time coming since the Wood Ducks played here at Granger Stadium. Tonight is the home opener. They're actually 6-0 already on this young season. They won 6 games on the road in Kannapolis last week to get things started, but it's been 612 days since they last played a home game here in Kinston. That was actually the last game of the season back on September 8th, 2019, when they lost to the Fayetteville Woodpeckers in the Carolina League playoffs to end that season. Of course, COVID-19 wiped out the entire 2020 season, but here we are with precautions in place. Baseball is back, and we've got a lot of team coverage coming up over the 5:30 newscast and into our 6 o'clock news, talking about the excitement of not only tonight, but the entire Down East Wood Ducks season. There's a lot to look forward to. We'll give you a preview of some of the promotions and some of the marketing items you can take advantage of when you come out here to Granger Stadium coming up this season. One of the best things for me and a lot of people coming to the ballpark is the food. Not on your side, sports reporter Nolan Knight joins us live from downstairs here at Granger Stadium with a look at some of the top food items on the menu this year. Nolan, what are vendors out there excited about selling tonight?
Oh, there's all sorts of options. You know me, I had to find my way over here to the concession stands, and they have all the classics, hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, peanuts, everything that you could ever want at a baseball game. They have it, of course, but on top of all of that, they have some new items this year. King's Barbecue. Everyone in the East knows about King's. They this year have partnered up with the Down East Wood Ducks. They have a barbecue sandwich. There's some barbecue nachos. There's tachos. That's right, this list keeps on going. Those are taco nachos. You also have your 5 tooled nachos. A lot of different nacho options. And of course, as you mosey on way over to the concession stands, you have your chips, you have your peanuts. Of course, I can never go wrong with a hot dog. The best part of all of this, the issue with a lot of people with ballpark food, it's not that healthy for you, right? But today you have an excuse, because today is National Eat What You Want Day, and today I want some hot dogs. Angie, Ken, back to you.
Oh, Nolan, thank you. I'm so jealous. That looks so good. Well, looking into today's top headlines, drivers along the East are feeling the effects of the shutdown of the Colonial Pipeline following a ransomware attack. Since Monday, drivers in New Bern have been lining up to fill up their tanks. Michael George reports how the closed gas pipeline that delivers about 45% consumed in the East is now causing chaos at the pump in some Southeast states, including right here in North Carolina.
As the Colonial Pipeline shutdown entered another day, drivers along part of the East Coast felt the pinch.
It's been crazy. This is worse than a hurricane.
Danielle Charles and her daughter spent about an hour searching for gas in Florida before they were able to fill up.
4 gas stations we passed by, and they're all crowded up with cars.
In North Carolina, some drivers dealt with lines stretching for miles, and the governor declared a state of emergency.
You don't want to miss out. You don't want to be the one that doesn't get gas.
Colonial, which delivers 45% of fuel consumed on the East Coast, was forced to shut down operations after a group of hackers called DarkSide broke into its computer system as part of a ransomware attack.
AAA says Americans shouldn't start panic buying gasoline. They should try to conserve gas by combining errands into one trip or using more fuel-efficient vehicles.
Gas station owners are and should act responsibly. We will have no tolerance for price gouging.
The White House is monitoring the situation, and President Biden plans to speak to Russian President Vladimir Putin about the cyber attack.
So far, there is no evidence based on from our intelligence people that Russia is involved, although there is evidence that the actors' ransomware is in Russia.
The shutdown is also putting airports on the East Coast at risk of low supply. American Airlines had to adjust 2 long-haul flights out of Charlotte. Colonial Pipeline hopes to reopen the line later this week, but cautions supply shortages are possible in the short term. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
To help prevent shortages, the Transportation Department is making it easier to move fuel by truck. Earlier, Colonial Pipeline experienced a temporary service disruption to its website unrelated to the ransomware. The site has since been restored. Throughout the entire state, people are hitting the gas pumps. Some gas stations in the East are completely out of gas and others running very low. This is video out of Morehead City. You can see extremely long lines as drivers wait to fill up for gas. Switching to COVID-19, today President Biden spoke with several governors as his administration rolls out extra efforts to get more Americans vaccinated. Some of the efforts to get more Americans vaccinated include offering free Uber and Lyft rides to vaccination sites. They're pushing for colleges to get their students vaccinated and more funding for community outreach.
I am optimistic. I think we're going to see in the next 3 or 4 years the ability to provide access to and uptake of significant additional health care initiatives.
Now, following the FDA approval for Pfizer's vaccine for 12 to 15 years old, the CDC Advisory Board is expected to review the data and finalize guidance on the vaccine by tomorrow. Today, the Senate held a hearing about firearms made at home. The Justice Department says over the past 4 years, more than 20,000 of these firearms, known as ghost guns, have been found at potential crime scenes. Democrats say these types of guns make a mockery on gun safety measures like background checks.
And I think it's not too much to ask that even for the hobbyist, whatever they're purchasing, have a serial number and comply with the federal law.
Now, GOP leaders say these ghost guns are no different than normal firearms. The Justice Department has now established a new rule to reclassify what a firearm is as a way to work around some of the loopholes connected to the manufacturing of those weapons. Now, quick hits of the day's other news. A deadly outbreak of violence strikes out in the Middle East. Overnight, Palestinian militants and Israeli forces exchanged rockets and missiles after several days of clashes centered in Jerusalem. It is being reported that 28 people have been killed in the attacks. The Biden administration is holding tens of thousands of asylum-seeking children in a network of some 200 facilities. The facilities spread across 24 states and includes 5 shelters with more than 1,000 children. A facility at U.S. Army Post Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, has more than 4,500 children alone. A new study from the National Student Clearing Research Center Day says college enrollment is decreasing. Data shows registration rate for undergraduate colleges and universities is down nearly 5%. Community colleges are seeing the biggest drop with 11% fewer students enrolled for this current semester.